We're about to mix the Thinset for our underneath our Dicha heat membrane. We're bonding it to wood substrate. When you're mixing your Thinset to do this, we can read here that we're allowed to go anywhere from 7.1 to 8 liters of water. So we're going to use all of that 8 liters. We're going to get nice consistency, make sure that the bond between the Dicha heat and the substrate is all there. So we'll put 2 of these in. That'll give us 8 liters. We got 8 liters. Let's mix this down before putting the full bag in to not make a mess. So we've got a nice wet consistency mixed up, so we're going to let it slake now for a minute. We'll come back, we'll remix it. Like I said, we've maxed out what we're allowed to put in for water consumption at 8 liters. So we'll give it 5 or 10 minutes to slake and we'll come back for a remix. We'll get the first row laid out. When doing it with the sheets, just want to make sure that you're always keeping your pucks and lines running parallel with one another. Make the wire install much easier. Look at that, perfect. We framed the sunroom just so that 4 sheets of Dicha would go perfectly in line here. So I find the easiest way to cut any of these Dicha membranes, especially the Dicha heat, is just an X-Acto knife. It's easier to cut between the pucks rather than on the pucks as well, but sometimes you do have to cut your pucks to get closer to your walls. So we've got the first row laid out so we know exactly what we're looking for moving forward as we get to the other side of the room. Also on this substrate, the subfloor has been glued and nailed as well as screwed. We've also primed on top of that, so we have the ultimate floor to start this work on. So as always, we're going to start off by flat troweling the surface just to get into all the grooves of the floor, and then we'll go ahead with the trowel process after. Here we have the cold splice. We have it just on the inside of the floor here. This has to be underneath the floor. It says on the label right there. So typically I'll put that close to the wall, but ultimately it's under the floor. And from there, we're just going to keep roughly 6 inches away from all these walls. That's how I've calculated to heat this floor. So with that being said, we're going to start running the wire. Using a piece of wood or a wood float or anything like that can make it easier on your finger. You can put it in with your finger, but after 180 square feet, they're going to be pretty raw. So here we're just running the 3-3 puck system. Yet again, you can calculate, Schluter has allowed you now to do a 3-2 puck spacing, but the 3-3 is an adequate solution. So we're going to do 3-3 for the whole floor. Having the 2-3 option is nice. If you have a wire that you feel might be too big and you're getting to the end, you can use a 3-2 to use up the wire, as you cannot manipulate, cut, or do anything such with these wires. So moving forward with this 3-puck layout, we've run into the crease between the 2 membranes is going to be on our ideal line. So going back to the 3-2 layout, I am going to run one on a 2-puck layout here, and then we'll jump back to the 3-3. And if we do run into it again, we'll just continue to do that. Go back to the 3-2. So now we're going to go ahead and screed this floor out, or some would call it a skim coat. So all we're essentially going to do is grab a grout float. We got a nice consistent batch of Thinset mixed up, and we're just going to flat trowel on top of everything that we do have here. Some of the benefits of this, particularly on a heated floor, is you're going to protect the wires if any other sub-trades are going to come in. This is on my own home, so we're not going to see that traffic. For benefit of us is tomorrow for layout, we're going to have a nice hard surface that we can draw any layout lines on, our first row, things like that. Skim coating is not something that you would have to do. Some installers would prefer to do it, some installers prefer to just skim while they're troweling. For me, I work by myself, so I'm going to get the advantage of more buckets are going to be mixed today as opposed to tomorrow when I am tiling. So tomorrow I might save a few buckets of mixing and I can just focus more on tile installation at that point. So we're wrapping up the skimming of the floor for now, so that'll be it for today. You can't obviously walk on the wet floor. So when we come back tomorrow, we're going to have a nice hard surface of Thinset, easily trowelable on top for the setting of tiles. We're going to have a surface that we can draw on for our layout lines to get started on the back wall there. It's a preference of mine that I like to do, yet again, just to protect the wires and for an easy layout in the morning. Hey guys, it's Mac. We're on day 2 of the sunroom. So we got our heated floor all prepped, so we're going to start tiling. First thing you're going to do when you're tiling is you got to do layout. So we got an 8-inch by 48-inch wood plank tile. So that's going to leave us with about 23 rows, give or take, of tiles going through from end to end. So what I would normally do on a bigger tile is you might just measure the tile, you might divide the room, multiply it, but because we have 23 rows of tile, the more tiles that you can lay out roughly, the more accurate of a number that you're going to get. So I've got all short of one, this tile here is going to be centered in the room. So I've got everything figured out. I know this is going to be the 8-inch tile, so I got the exact same layout here as I'm going to on the opposite side of this tile. I know I have baseboard going on underneath that unpainted part there, and it's going to be the same tile that's going to be into the doorway on the other end of the room here. Doing more of these tiles is a more accurate number as opposed to just putting your tape on and going 7 7/8 plus a spacer times that by 23. Your numbers are going to vary a little bit, and the more that you can lay out, the more accurate of a number and the more accurate that your center point is going to be in this room. So we touched on this yesterday. This is the cold lead. This is where the hot wire meets the cold wire to go up to the thermostat. This has to be embedded underneath your floor. The easiest way to do this is to cut your deecher out around it. It is a bit of a thicker part of the wire. So if you cut the deecher out, you can push that in, and then when you do get the tile in, you can tile right over top of it.